Hi friends, I hope you're all well. This episode, differently from the other one, recorded not in nature. You'll soon understand why. So I said at least the opening of the episode, I'll do it a little bit outside in nature, surrounded by green. It's the peak of the winter here, so all the orange trees are fully grown with a lot of fruits on them. I want to thank you all for supporting this podcast. It's about a year since I started it, and I recorded, including this one, 12 episodes. This episode will be split into two, so it's about like one episode a month, and I hope in the future to at least keep that pace, and hopefully even more. So thank you all for your support and your feedbacks. And also I want to thank our sponsors, Lens for Rent, the best place to rent photography equipment in Israel, and Camera to Pick, the best shop to buy equipment in Israel, cheapest one. And I have a very special guest this time, my dear friend and one of the best nature photographers, in my opinion, in the world, Amos Nachoum, with ton of experience and information and inspiration. So we had a very long interview. So I'll split it into two separate episodes. So please subscribe to the channel if you're watching it on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple TV. So, Apple Podcast. So subscribe so you'll get notification for the next episode and also next episode on the future. Please keep sending me feedbacks and ideas for my podcast. I really appreciate you all. So enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Israeli Photography Podcast. Today we have a special guest. We're doing something different. Unfortunately, we cannot do it in nature, one-on-one, face-to-face. So nature is behind me, and my guest, who will introduce himself in a second, is in the other side of the globe. But it was very important for me to do this episode as soon as possible. So I'm really honored to have Amos Nachoum with me. Hi, Amos.
Good morning to you, Ido, and to everybody else. It is nature. I am in nature in Carmel, California.
Yeah.
And we are in nature of Israel. We are in nature all the time, no matter where. The question is how we act and interact with our environment. But thank you very much for the opportunity. It's amazing to be, after we met, I guess last time in 2018 in Italy.
Yeah, and actually we met in Israel, I think a few years ago in a lecture you gave to the group of photographers, wildlife photographers also. Yeah.
But then we met you again when you were winning at the Siena in 2018.
Yeah.
And everybody need to know
Thank you.
that we are in a good company, in a company that achiever.
Yeah. Okay, Amos, introduce yourself. I know most people know you, but give us a little bit of background of you.
Well, it is not what people think they know. It is about what I know about myself. Well, I'm an Israeli, been in the United States for almost since 1978. I came to the United States in a search of learning film and television. And I was accepted to New York University, and I could not afford the tuition then. Everybody else, and if you did not see if you saw the movie Picture of His Life, or if you're going to see the movie Picture of His Life, is available online. Yes, I went to work. I went to drive a taxi in New York, and I started working at to learn English, which is not very easily for me even today after all these years. I went to learn the diving. I went to diving school because I was very connected to the ocean, and I had a lot of knowledge about diving already in Israel to learn English. And then I met my instructor, and he told me to get out of the water because he thought I can teach the class and become an assistant instructor. The first group, the dive shop in New York, took in 1988, in July of 1988, was to Cuba. And I saw the best living reef in the Caribbean, which the Americans think it was like the best thing in the world. And after the experience I had already since 1967 in the Red Sea, Ras Muhammad, Ras Atantur, Tiran, and I realized that the Red Sea has much more to offer, and I start to bring people to Israel. At the time, I was able to launch the first live-on-board dive boat in Israel called the Sunboat. Opposite, for me, was Howard Rosenstein, the well-known Israeli pioneer in diving, that he had his dive center, Red Sea Divers, a good friend. Till today, we communicate on a regular basis and supporting each other. He was running the land base, I was running the liveaboard base, and that's how my operation started. I started photography when I was very, very young. I guess about 12 years old. I find my father's camera in the boydem. And if nobody speaks Yiddish around here, it is in the attic.
Yeah.
That he used in the World War II. It was a bellow camera. It was an Agfa that open and close. I can have only 12 frame, black and white. It was how I started photography. And I realized people were more paying attention to my picture than to everything else. And I continued taking pictures up until I got to the service. I started taking pictures of like photojournalism in Israel, running around the street, taking pictures of demonstration, of event, of another casualty here and another terrorist activity there. But the service I did in a special force, or in Shaked, the Sayeret Shaked, which is one of the elite units at the time, in a Southern Command of Israel, into Egypt, into the territory, crossing to the Suez Canal, doing operation on the opposite side, and then, of course, the war at 73. And the year after the war, when we start patrolling Gaza and running after Jabalia, Nuseirat, and all the places we know today, Khan Yunis and Rafiah, we did it earlier life, was like the mini Fauda, if you want to call it, or the beginning of the Fauda, a similar operation. And after the service, I wanted to continue in photography, and I started doing fashion photography. I worked with one of the leading Israel fashion photographer, Ben Lam.
Wow.
And then also I did I started working also outside of Israel and doing some of the other events in outside of the country. Offer to become more a photographer. Then I went eventually to the United States for film and television, but they did not work very well, as you already heard. And I started developing a company which ran trips all around the world. The purpose of it was simply because I could not get to hire people to represent me in America and to sell my pictures. So that's one investment. The second investment, I did not speak English very well, and my accent gave me away very often. I could not compete with any American photographer working in the United States. So I said, if that's not help, what I'll do, I'll run trips around the world or expedition to my eye concern, and then I'll make the picture, and eventually the picture will be able to sell the stories to the magazine. It worked very well, apparently, because I'm still doing that after 45 years. Either the people like me, either the concept worked very well.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I worked mostly on most of the beautiful reef of the world, or the most amazing reef in the world. And that means, of course, the Red Sea. And of course, and also I was able to develop some new destinations at the time that were not very popular for diving, like Papua New Guinea, like Madagascar, and of course the Maldives. And I was there in the 80s and start working with the Galapagos, and start working also the other concept of the ocean giant and diving with the great white shark. Started in Australia, and after this to South Africa. All this took place, but I start seeing the damage that happened to the reef in the world. So I had to make a decision if I want to continue. And the damage happened to the reef because of several reasons, not just global warming, but the human effect. There is proliferation of dive boat and anchor throwing on the reef, because in the beginning we did not pay attention, and I was one of them, of course, and about throwing reef anchors on the reef, putting a lot of people in the water, and people are not trained very well how to swim, and kicking with the fins and raising sand on the reef. I decided that I want to remove myself. I said I could not be part of it, and I want to do something different. And then I decided to work on mostly in blue water. Well, the effect was, first of all, nobody was working in blue water, or they had the confidence or the trust and the knowledge. And second, because it was very unknown. So it was clearly, I was breaking through the concept of diving travel. And the idea was, because we are in blue water, we have nothing to damage, nothing to destroy. We can only chase after the animal, and we never be as fast as the shark, or as the whale, or as the dolphin, or is the, and that was the beginning, the new concepts in 1998. I started the concept that till today, in a way leading, it is in the company of Ocean Giant or Big Animals Expeditions. The photography element had to change. And the photography element that what we are talking about, we try to share with the people, that although I did in one hand the business, the commercial side of taking people into adventure, the second part, how in photography to bring a new concept, a new direction. Because what I learned listening to other people in the United States in different seminar or convention is about finding a niche. Each one of us need to have, as a photographer, have to find a niche that make you independent. Because today, there is more, everybody taking picture.
Yeah.
The question, how you continue taking a good picture. So my concept in the beginning was highlighting the behavior of the animals, which demanded much more time, focus, and understanding of the wilderness wherever I go, or wherever people are joining me, to make it work very well. And that's what made, if I can look at myself today and what I did, that's what make my success. That it was very difficult, and it took a lot of time and money to be able to see the behavior of a great white, or behavior of a blue, to find the blue whale, and where are the blue whale, and to find one or two images that highlight the moment of mother and calf of blue whale swimming side by side, which are very rare till today. But that is the key to find the niche. For me, it was the behavior. The reason also the behavior, because also as a photographer, or any businessman from any aspect of life, need to focus on one or two questions. And the question is, what problem we solving? What benefit we bring to the public, so the public can come gravitate around us? And that is the main question. Just to take picture is wonderful. To take more beautiful picture, a beautiful picture is even better. Learning from people like yourself, like Roy and other. But how to create a constant and a theme or a golden line between all of the pictures through your one person career, one person hobby, and then you create a body of work which represent you as a person, represent you as a photographer, or as a teacher, or as a mentor, or as a whatever you want to call it. We have to do something to make our community, our environment, as better or stronger that we can.
Yes, usually if I see a picture of someone without seeing his name and recognize this is him, so I know he did a very good job to put himself as a niche. This is my kind of work. And I think in your picture, it's also noticeable. If I will see a picture without your name, I can guess it will be you. That kind of style.
It is the work, just for the sake of everybody to know
Yeah.
and to understand. There is the risk. Clearly there is the risk. It took me over $500,000 in debt to be able to get out of it, but I trusted one thing that everybody need to know. Trust yourself, trust your heart, the heart of heart. There is a practice in psychology that called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. We have to learn how our brain works and how the brain of other people work and how we connect. But in the Neuro Linguistic Programming call that there are about 7 different characters in the world. The study decided or calculate there are 7 different characteristics. That means if there are 8 billion people on the planet today, there's 1.1 billion people like you, Ido, and there's another 1.1 billion like me.
Okay.
So this is the people we gravitate for.
Yeah.
This is the direction. So each one of us is unique. Each one of our audience is unique. And if you really pay attention to your own uniqueness and you follow it, you have a chance to shine through and to come across that other people want to be like you or support you.
Yeah. So if I can conclude your love to the ocean and diving and your love for the camera and photography from childhood, like became together to a synergy to start your business. I know today, and I saw works that we will talk about, is not only underwater, or many big animals also above water, but I think that was the core of your two loves and two profession that you started to your business, to start your business and passion in life in general.
Yes, the reason I went for diving then is because very few people were dealing with that at the time. So as a photographer, I realized that I needed a niche, just like we did in the military service, just like we did at school before that. I realized that earlier in my life as a result of the pressure, I guess, in a family, in the environment, in the neighborhood where I live, is always about to find a niche, to find where I was able to be as good as somebody else, but he's in one thing, I'm in another one. So I was a leftist.
Yeah.
So when I played soccer, I was a left striker. I was not the right striker.
Yeah, sorry.
I realized that. And that's why when I decided to go full scale into photography or into business, was in the diving, because very few people were doing it or doing it as well as I thought I can.
Yeah.
Between you and I and the Israelis that listen to us or the other people around the world, the military training in Israel, being an officer, helped me a lot till today to be able to apply and to take whatever we learn in the army, and rather to shoot or aim with a gun, is to aim and shoot with a camera for the benefit of society.
Yeah. How do you define success in photography or art in your eyes?
That I can do it till today and continue to do it and have more dream and more better result. It is practically about happiness in my heart. And the fact that I can continue doing it, and there is a lot of challenges. It keeps me young. It keeps me motivated.
You have more hair than me, so you're doing better.
Yeah, but the color is almost the same.
Yeah.
That keep me really motivated, driven, thoughtfulness, and be able to connect with people, to make people happy about their time that they come share with me, or people that we communicate online about their pictures. The fact that I can go to new places with new people and have personal challenges, of course, and continue to develop, and that's the success. It is not about money, and it's not about clothing, and not about cameras. It's the fact that I can continue doing it and be able to bring something to people to benefit from or to learn from my experience.
Yeah, no, I think I'm doing also guiding of photography groups.
Yeah.
And we share the same passion about it also, like the people, the places, and everything. Definitely, I mean, I'm in this field for the last 11 years, and you're like more than 40. And it's amazing how like back in the days, like it was not so common. I think like today there is many like companies and many photographers who do it. I think you were one of the pioneers about it, and that's amazing. But you know
I would like to mention that recently what motivated me to connect with you and to do that is your recent trip to India and the beautiful picture, just stunning, of the tiger in the temple. It was timing and being concentrated, be able to, and when you see it, you have only split of a second to catch it. And that was stunning, wonderfully done. Really.
Actually, this time I took with me the first time ever 3 bodies like cameras, because I know how difficult it is, you know, on a fraction of a second to change lens exactly what you want. So luckily I have another body with 70 to 200, which usually I don't have a body for that. So this time I was ready for the shot. Yeah, it was great. Time has changed, you know, in many ways, in travel, things getting more easy. But photography-wise, you started shooting with film cameras and then moved to digital cameras, and these days is mirrorless cameras. How do you see the progress in this photography in your eyes? It's actually changing the way of doing our art in a way.
In many, many different ways. Very interesting that we talk about it right now, because I just refurbished my oldest Nikonos 3 camera with 15 millimeter lens. If anybody, the diver or non-diver listening to us, is a camera that Jacques Cousteau invented. It is a metal box that you can get water in it, nothing will happen. You can wash it again and get it back to the water. And going to shoot again with film. The quality of film, at least for me and anybody, of course, people that never had a telephone with a dial will not remember don't know the joy of listening to the dial and the sound when the dial coming back.
Yeah.
So today you have an iPhone. So the smell of film and the joy of looking at the picture on a paper on the front, or looking at slide in color, it is still in my DNA, if you want to call it. I still believe, now my own personal view, that the film, at least slide or chromes, have much better quality than any digital format or any business, because of the dynamic range that embedded in the color, in the Kodachrome or in the Fuji Velvia at the time. So I'm going to take back a little bit and start to shoot from time to time with opportunity arise, also film. But indeed, because of the race, like everything else, that we are always improving, try to improve. Today, a camera is not a camera anymore. It's actually a computer, because a camera basically is a black box with a pinhole. That's all what it is. It was a very interesting story when in a business about 10 or 20 years ago, when one of the manufacturer of one of the best machaz or housing for camera underwater. It is from Austria. The name of the company is Seacam. Came to me and asked me to join him or to buy from him the housing. And he showed me the housing, and he showed me all the buttons on the camera. I said, Howard, why do we need all these buttons? Underwater, I cannot change any of this.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and he's German and Austrian accent. He said, but people want to have a camera underwater like they have a camera on the land.
Yeah.
But underwater, we cannot change all the bottom, the compensation, and the move from this focus to this focus. The animal run away. In the wilderness, the animal run away. So it is a camera, is a black box with a pinhole. A photographer need to know ahead of time, think ahead of time what he going to shoot, what are the environment, what the parameter, and stick to them. Because the moment when something happened, you don't have a chance to change. If you're going to change, you're going to miss the moment.
Yeah. Do you feel today with very fast and very smart computers, that they call them, it's easier to catch the behavior of the animal, like the
Yes.
of a second?
Well, of course, if you have a Sony camera that shoots 40, 50 frames per second,
Yeah.
so it's better than film. Even the video cannot shoot that fast. Well, they can if you move it to 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So Nikon shoot 24 frames per second, Canon maybe shoot 30,
Yeah.
Sony shoot 45. I don't know anymore. Is indeed it become much easier for many people. Because it become easier, people are losing the theme.
Yeah.
Losing the focus of their genuine or the niche, because it's easy to shoot now 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 frames per outing in a safari. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Where is the focus? Just shooting everywhere and you find one picture that maybe you like, but where is the message? Where is the story? Why did you do that? So the good and bad and having a lot, it is you're losing focus of what really the point and where you want to be your message to the world or your niche in storytelling.
I think it's very challenging what you say today, actually, when I think about it now with you. So like the technical aspects became a little easier. It's easier to focus. It's easier to shoot a lot of frames and catch the moment. Even press shutter today, it catches pictures before you even press the shutter, like a few seconds before.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the things to be better, because a lot of people can get like in focus and sharp and get like the moment, but think about the bigger picture, the story, and what will pop above all this technical thing that probably was more difficult in the past, but it's a different challenge now these days.
Yeah, very, very true. What you said, you summarized it very, very well. Thank you, Ido.
Yeah. How do you see the difference between shooting above water or underwater? It's probably total different gear, total different technique.
Well, the gear is the same. It's still a camera. It's still a black box with a pinhole. That's how I look at it. No matter what, how many pieces, how many things you put into it, it is ridiculous in my view. The difference is that it is much lighter underwater because the water carry the camera.
Yeah.
To carry the 5 kilo Nikon and the long lenses, so they try to make them lighter.
Sometimes, yeah.
But of course, moving on land is easier because our body moving on land. In the water, we have to swim hard, and the resistance of the water is different. So you need to be in better physical shape and better condition, being aware of what's happening. There is in the water you have a lot other challenges, which is the light. The water, the light is being filtered through the water, and how you're dealing with light, and how to learn how to shoot with the limiting light. And because the water are so condensed, how you freeze the light in the water. And of course, you have an issue about judging distance between you and a subject, because in the water, everything look much closer and much bigger than what it is like really, because of the refraction of light in the water. So those are the limitations, some of the differences. In the water, we mostly I work mostly with wide angle lenses.
Yeah.
But this is a pit hole because wide angle, so everybody jump to 16 or fisheye lens, but the fisheye lens distort.
Yes.
So you see a lot of people, or young people that come, not young, but fresh photographer coming in with the best equipment, the best deal, the fisheye, but then you get images which are distorted and they are not honestly delivering the story of what is in front of them. So our responsibility as photographer is the question how you take yourself as a photographer, just to get liking in Instagram or Facebook, or you have a story to tell and you carry yourself bring some responsibility, authority, and knowledge, and be able to sustain this for a long period of time. So dealing with so that is part of the limitation, a part of the the petrol of all this wonderful gear. All of the pictures that we see in the world today are distorted one way or another. So to make an effort how to take a picture which is uniquely and perfectly, as is in the water, for an example, you know the story about the great white smiling at the front of the camera. Everybody taking picture of nobody, there is no one that went underwater did not take picture of a great white, but only with wide angle lens, which saw the animal. So one time, against everything else, and I'm not the only photographer shoot underwater, but taking a 50mm lens deliberately, to see how a shark look at me from a distance 1 meter away. It was totally a great white, something that we all movie that $1 billion Jaws. The great white just smiling to the camera because I was able to take it with a 50mm lens, which is a normal lens, like the angle of our eyes. So that is where the photographer, you are not only a photographer, you're really a storyteller, you're really a leader. If you pay attention to the responsibility you carry yourself when you go out, not just go out and shoot, but share it with other people. That's become the photographer. Not because you have a camera, not because you got one good picture, because your ability to be responsible, what you share with people, what you bring into the world, and you make the world a better place. That's the answer that we said before. If you what problem you are going to solve, and if you have a problem that you're going to solve, you'll be successful.
Is it more difficult to focus underwater?
It is more difficult because it is work on contrast, like all the camera that on land. The camera have to work on contrast. When you don't have much contrast, that's why we work with wide angle lenses. We need to be very, very close to the animal to pick up the contrast and also to see detail, because the water is 800 times denser than air. So we must be very, very close. On land, you shoot 800mm lens, no problem. Underwater, underwater, if I shoot with a 50mm lens, is the longest lens that I can shoot because of the depth of the water. We have to be very close, 1635 or equivalent, 1424 or 1124 in Nikon or Canon. But those lenses practically to work on, unless you do macro photography, but on a big animal, it is all those lenses that allow me to bring the detail of the animal, but also to be able to focus because of the contrast, as the water blend very well, and that's it.
Do you ever dive with two cameras, like with two different lenses, or you have to choose before you dive what you're taking with you?
In the past, I was able to dive with two cameras because when you dive on a reef, it's not a problem. You put the camera on the land or you have somebody to help you. When you work in a blue water, there is no way to have somebody else, or at least I don't have somebody else to carry with me a camera. In the past I put two cameras side by side, housing and a small camera on the side. But today the housing is very heavy, the camera is heavy. I shoot only with one camera at a time, because carry more than one camera, the drag in the water make me much slower.
Complicated,
So it is not, it's just slower. So when you work with the big animal, it is all about our body agility to be able to match the animal. And so that's why we try to make the camera as small as possible, less resistant in the water when you push it. And that is what we deal in, the condition one have to deal with and how you solve it. And carry one camera.
Sometimes less is more. If you have like one lens, you say, this is what I have to work with, and not think too much, and just put your focus on that and do your best.
Very, very well said. Correct.
We will talk about a few of your pictures that is my favorite in a second, but what is the animal that still excites you the most to meet?
What the animal
that excites you the most to meet, even today that you saw a lot of big animals, and Something that still moves you every time you see it.
Well, of course, the polar bear is a story, but not the polar bear underwater more than above water.
Yeah.
Because only 4 or 5 people ever taken picture of polar bear underwater. Luckily, I had a chance to do it twice. One time I almost paid with my life.
Yeah, we'll talk about it soon, yeah.
Yeah, and the second time, of course, there were naturally between Jonathan Nir and Danny Menken and the wonderful family of Inuit. We were able to create a story, and Adam Ravitch, the filmmaker, that were able to document my step in the water or dive in the water and with the polar bear. So that's something that I wish to be able to do again.
Again, yeah.
Orcas are fascinating animal to work underwater with, which are very beautiful, very powerful, and very friendly to people. The great white shark, I will never give up. And matter of fact, I'm going back again in December to Australia. It will be 50 years anniversary for the movie Jaws. And together with Rodney Fox, my mentor from 1980, he was actually taught me the first time how to dive in cages with great white in Australia. Those are the animals that I've been before that still fascinating me. Naturally, on land, can count is, of course, the snow leopard that I did in Ladakh. Going to do it again, together with another wonderful photographer, Asher Davidesky. Go to Mongolia. Hopefully next year, we're going back with him. And then there is 1 or 2 animals that I'm looking forward to be able to do the first time, and that will be a new challenges.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it in a second. It's on my list. You mentioned the movie you did with Jonathan and Danny. I saw it in the premiere. It's an amazing movie, like well directed and everything. And of course, your story is amazing. Of photographing this polar bear underwater, which this picture also won in many competition. It's really a stunning picture.
Thank you.
How was the working like on the movie with all the bringing the story of your life and it's like being all the healing that the nature brought to you and the camera of your army service and many things you've been through before. How was working on this as a video on you?
It worked very, very well. I was very proud of Yoni and how he did it and what he did. It was a very interesting conversation between Yoni and I in the beginning. Yoni was a student of mine, and I was able to mentor him for 2 years. And when he finished, or when I told him, Yoni, go ahead, do it on your own. You don't have to be with me anymore. You can do very well. But I told him at the time that if I was in his age then, that go into film business rather than still photography. And he did. And the first movie he want to make is the movie that I share with him the story about what happened to me on the first time. But this is Yoni. Yoni thinking out of the box also. He created his own niche into post-trauma and how to deal with post-trauma through photography or filmmaking, which he did remarkable job to the world, not just to Israel, to the world. It's just, the person is really something else. His unique way of thinking. So he asked me, how do I want the movie to be? And that I talk about the movie? I said, no, Yoni, you know what? Let's do something different. Rather than me talking about me, let's take the freedom, do whatever you want. Talk to here's a list of people that know me, that I've been with. Talk to them, find out anything they've seen, how they describe me, what they know, what they remember, what they recall. And that will be the shape of the individual. When he came out, what my sister said about me, what my father said about me, that I did not talk for almost 15 to 20 years. That's one of the reasons I left Israel. Yes. So, and of course, what happened during the war. So everything, it opened for me, and I was able to stand in front of the crowd and to be just open. I am who I am. That's what happened to me. That's where I am now. I felt the power that because of that, people can see no matter what happened to us and how things happened in the past, what we can take out of it and make ourselves better, kinder, lover, stronger, and more connected with each other.
That was a very motivating movie for many, even if, as a photographer, and for anybody, even not in the field, like really, really motivating about chasing your dreams and really understanding what your heart and your soul is passionate about, which a lot of people struggling, to find in their life. So it was really, really motivating. I remember that affects me.
That's part of the post-trauma, I must say, that when I did after the war in 73 and after the war and the continue, that the post-trauma from the loss of friend and all the blood and all the chaos, which is, in a way, I will not say nothing, but compared to what our people going today in Gaza or when they went in Lebanon, is nothing compared to the effect. But I don't know how even to connect with these people, the young soldiers of today, when they're coming out from the front line. But what happened then to me, and what I can share with them tomorrow, is trust yourself. What is your heart of heart, and just work as close as you can to, no matter what pain, no matter what losses, no matter the heart. In the heart of heart, what you believe in is the one that's going to shine through.
Yeah, oh, that's really motivating. You also printed the book called Big, about a big
Yes.
animal.
Mm-hmm.
How it was for you to see everything, printed in a book. It's a photographer dream, I think.
Yes, it was very how do you call it, satisfying. Was really accomplished to take one step further. It perhaps not the vision which I saw, but it was a good beginning. Matter of fact, I'm working on the second book now.
Yeah.
And that will be a different story, in a little bit different direction. But it was really like everything else. You need to do one step, small step, before you go to do another bigger step.
Yeah.
And it was very good. It was very relieving, how do you call it, release a lot of energy.
Yeah.
There is a concept in the Eastern philosophy, either Japanese or Chinese, that says that when you share your knowledge, or you share your experience with others, like what you do with people when you take on safaris or on trips, when you share your knowledge, and when you put your camera aside and you talk to them, you tell them what to aim for, how to shoot it, and why to do that this way or another. Then what happened? You release some of the information out of your memory, you give it to them, and you open space to receive some new knowledge. And that's exactly what happened as I did this book 2 years ago. Since then, developed other direction, how to do the second book, which will be a bigger production and a different angle altogether.
Yeah.
And that was very empowering.
It's amazing. You talked before about the snow leopard. I think I heard a lecture a few years ago, and you were talking about your journey for photographing snow leopard, how difficult it was back then, like to hike for like a week and camp in the snow with the locals, and like sleeping in the cold and going to photograph. And then you saw a leopard from very far away, and it was like, and I think today it's really changed in India and Mongolia. It's kind of developed probably to be more easy, and maybe the leopards coming a little closer to towns these days. What do you think about it, like going again and doing it like differently?
Listen, everything become easier today.
Yeah.
There are much faster cars, there are much easier coffee shop to find all around wherever you go, much easier to do banking. Everything become in a way easier, but there still are challenges.
Yeah, of course.
There still are challenges. There will be in quantum industry, there will be in chat GPT, there will be in computer. There is always new challenges. There are not new animals, these other animals. that today are threatened or endangered, that worthwhile to put effort to find them. When it comes to snow leopard, indeed, there is, since I did it 1980 or 1995, 6, there was very few people doing it, very little knowledge was about them. Since then, they become organization, they start to be tracked and find out more about their behavior. They're learning about the time of the year when they come down from the top of the mountains, down closer to the villages, and people adjust themselves, become better awareness, more and more people going.
Yeah.
My picture had something to do, and other people successful taking pictures eventually become more desirable. The movie, The Life of Mitty, that was just parallel to that, help more awareness and become better conservation. Because at the time when I was there, when I was also in Tibet, and I saw a snow leopard, or 2 snow leopards actually, in small cages, people were selling them. Is a story that hardly anybody knows, that I bought one of them for almost like what it was, about almost $700-800, a lot of money then in Tibet, and I released, and later on the people I work with release it into the wild. So there is better understanding of the animal behavior, better respect to the animal, and there, even it's easier, it's wonderful. It is people get the joy to be in the wilderness. The question indeed is what effect we're leaving on the environment, how careful we are on leaving garbage behind us, paper, plastic, anything like that. And that is the question, how we deal with the terrain that is actually pristine. Are we leaving it pristine? If we only go out, take picture, and come back with picture and nothing else, is the best way to do it, and get people really to reach their life about the time coming home, and to know that the life of the snow leopard is there. It is their home, and my home is here, and we keep both of them safe and clean.
Like we say, leave nothing but footprints in the ground. And I think I tell it many times to people I travel with. Tourism actually save these animals, even in safaris where the jeeps sometimes look like distracting the animals. Of course they are. They would prefer there would be no noisy diesel jeeps driving around. But if there was no jeep, there would no tiger, then there would no leopard, and because that motivate the locals to keep them, because it gives them more money than killing them like hunting a goat or something. So actually the tourism in Africa, India, in many places keep the environment in a way, keep the animals.
It is unfortunately what will happen in life is the lesser of the evil between hunting and poaching to give the local people occupation and able to make money, to improve their life, either medically, education, and of course food supply. So it is a balance that we have to have in nature. We need to expand on a national park, to need to make border between national park so animal can move. We can not help, but make it easier for the animal to survive in their environment, like we make it easier for us to live in a small country like Israel or Hong Kong. We build 2 tall buildings and have put more people in 1 square meter.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about a little few of pictures of you that I really love. First of all, it's the leopard seal. It's a very famous picture of you. And this animal, I saw a few movies about it, and it's a very interesting and photogenic animal. How do you describe this moment that you were very close to him and it was almost looked like he's gonna eat you or your camera?
Well, that is again the misconception, and that's part of the question that I try to answer in my work as a photographer, dispelling the myth of dangerous wildlife.
Yeah.
The only one the dangerous one is us as people.
Yes.
The question how we interact in the environment. The question how slowly we take. It took me 3 years to be able to understand the behavior of the animal, to be able to get close to it, to be able to catch this picture to bring the image or the story alive. So when people see the picture, people don't know the story behind it. They don't understand. Oh, that's actually the basic of the new book. Understanding really what it took to get to make this picture. Why?
Yeah.
Even a leopard seal that actually the one person or leopard seal killed one person.
Yeah.
But since then, nobody else, because we start to understand better the behavior of the leopard seal. Like with the great white, like with the polar bear, like with all animals. The question is how we people going to the home, or for them is not a wilderness for the wildlife. This is their home. It's wilderness for us. It's not how we can manage and live in harmony with them, which is another part of my equation, what I try to deliver with my expedition, is how in harmony we can live with the animal. So to be able to enjoy the present and they're giving us the joy or the inspiration to see more, and the beauty of wildlife, the beauty of the wilderness, that no man can create it. No super intelligent can create another blue whale or another dolphin. So that is the empowering for us to feel how small we are compared to the power of the energy of the gods that created this planet. Yes, the power that created this kind of environment, and there is no planet like that anywhere else in the world. There is not. What are we doing? When are we going to pay attention how precious is this total beautiful place we're living in? So the same thing with the leopard seal. It took 3 years to understand. Every time it's an expedition, took 2 or 3 weeks to be able to be in Antarctica financially, which I could afford together with people, which helped me to run the trip and to understand how it behaved. Till eventually I realized every time I took another step closer and closer, that the animal is not really there to kill us. It's not anywhere looking for me to hurt me, because they are territorial and because they're living solitaire. During particular time of the year, in the months of February, March, where only 30% of its diet is in penguin. The rest of the time of the year, it eats the plankton and everything else.
Yeah.
Very little was known about the leopard seal, how it takes care of itself. During this particular time, their behavior is as such, it's protecting itself. So if I come in and I come with a camera with such a big dome in the front of it, is a mirror. What you see is another leopard seal.
Yeah.
And then it becomes protecting it. So what happens when you're afraid of something, you run away. So if you run away, the leopard will run after you because it does not know, because we are not as fast and we are as big, almost the same size.
Yes.
If I go after it, it's much stronger than I am and have much bigger teeth. But if I stood still in one place, I did not move, the leopard did not know what to do.
Yeah.
And then we were able to take those kind of picture.
Yeah.
When I saw him go on predation, go after hunting, I did not go in the front of it. I just rested parallel to it.
Yeah.
As much as I could stay parallel to the animal. And then eventually I was able to bring this moment to life.
Yeah.
But that is what it takes to do that. It is understanding. Yes, as you see, I'm very poor on Instagram. I don't put all my pictures. I don't know how. It is like all this, but and I not avoid, but I don't go every time just put one more picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because it is the body of work, is the concept just where one more picture, the people like me. It is the body, the concept of why I'm doing it. What is the purpose? What do I bring to the world? That make a difference.
Yeah, totally. I said today to someone, understanding behavior of even a bird or the way she hunt, the way she, for any animal, that's the key to getting a good picture. And of course, with leopard seal, which is not as common as other animals, just to investigate all these years to understand and get this picture, it's really inspiring. It's amazing.